And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on-air host, Sara DiVello, and I am so excited to welcome back New York Times bestselling author Laura Lippman, here to give us the inside scoop on her brand new book, Murder Takes a Vacation, out tomorrow. Laura, welcome back to Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Tell us about this book.
Thank you so much for having me back. So, this is just an outright, straight up cozy. I wrote a cozy mystery. Anyone who knows their Agatha Christie recognizes the idea of having a murder that involves someone on a cruise. It also involves the search for the statue of a bird. So you've got a little tip of the hat to the Maltese falcon there. But the two primary sources of inspiration for this book were a children's book from the Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's about two kids who go live in the Metropolitan Museum of Art while they're running away from home. And they become obsessed with identifying the provenance of a statue of an angel, whether it was really made by Michelangelo. And I had also been watching the film Charade. And
my favorite, Audrey Hepburn. Oh my God, and Cary Grant. I've watched it over and over and over.
It's such a terrific film. I saw it for the first time. They played it for us in 8th grade French class. Like we were going to learn French by watching Charade.
Yes.
But increasingly, I am attracted to the idea of taking a really familiar story and especially flipping the genders. So I was watching Charade and I was like, it's so refreshing in Charade. Cary Grant is much older than Audrey Hepburn, and they make a big deal of that. Oh, we can't be romantic because I'm so much older than you. And I just thought, what if the woman was the older one? How does the story change if the woman is old and the man is young? And I kind of took it from there. This is a story about a minor character from the Tess Monahan universe who's now having her own adventure. She's a widow. She's come into some money. She's taking a dream trip. She meets a very attractive man on her flight. And the next thing she knows, the man is dead in Paris. He's not even supposed to be in Paris. And suddenly she's being followed. She's being mugged. And everyone seems to think she knows something about this missing antiquity. And she's very firm in her belief that I'd know if I had a statue in my luggage. So Mrs. Blossom is 68, and I feel I've really loved. I chose to write this book because I wanted to spend some time with someone I really liked. My last two novels were about terrible people, and I thought I would love to spend time with someone I like. And I don't even really care about writing likable characters per se, but I needed to be in good company. And that's where this book came from.
Well, I'm just mad that I didn't notice it was Charade, because of course it is. And I've watched that movie. Cary Grant was my first crush. I fell in love with him when I was 8 years old. I've seen all the Cary Grant movies. Archibald Leach, which is his real name. I know all the Cary Grant trivia, and I have watched Charade over and over and over and over again because I also love the Hepburns, Audrey and Catherine. And it's such a good movie. And of course, in that movie, they're after the stamp, this famous stamp that she doesn't know that she has. And oh my God, I'm just mad that I didn't see it, but I get it now. It's so perfect. It's such a beautiful homage to Charade and to North by Northwest. And oh my gosh, very Hitchcockian. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to chat with you. And I'm realizing you're a classic film fan as well. So Laura,
yes.
I can't wait to chat with you. So I just want to welcome everyone because we are broadcasting live to 7 different destinations on Facebook and YouTube. So mystery and thriller fans, no matter where you're watching from, you're in the right place. It is the right time. It is Mystery Monday because Mondays can be murder. We're going to make it a little less painful and get your week off to a killer start. So if you've been here before, you know the drill. And if you're new, here's the drill. Every Monday, I give you my handpicked featured author, and you get to ask them anything. So tonight, that handpicked featured author is the incredible Laura Lippman, who has been here before, who we are welcoming back. And we're going to get the inside scoop on Mrs. Muriel Blossom. let's jump straight into the comments. Sharon is joining us from YouTube. She says, hey girls, so nice to see you tonight. Hi Sharon, so nice to see you. Welcome back. We have sweet Liz joining us on YouTube as well. She said, I was already interested, but this makes me even more excited to read it. Sweet Liz, I'm sensing a fellow classic film fan in you. Tell us your favorite Cary Grant movie. Tell us all of the things. Meanwhile, I have so many questions, Laura. So first of all, I just want to say that I love a PI story. I love a classic golden age whodunit, and this is that. And there is something so polished and so supple about your writing. I was really marveling at how elegant your writing is. You can tell that this is a highly polished work, and that you care deeply about the craft of writing, and that you have polished it until it is so supple. I love the character of Mrs. Muriel Blossom. Oh, thanks for all the hearts on Facebook and thumbs up on Facebook, you guys. I see your bouquets of love and likes. Mrs. Muriel Blossom is such a singular character. She is from Baltimore. She's never been out of the United States before. She gets her brand new passport and she decides to go to Paris, and she's going to take this cruise. And she's just so lovable and so humble. And we can also see how much you love your city of Baltimore in there, Laura, which is so fun. So I also loved, as you said, that she was a small character in a prior book. So has she been marinating in your brain all these years and you decided to let her bloom, Mrs. Blossom blooming, or tell us about that?
So Mrs. Blossom first appears in a book that was published in 2008, a Tess Monahan mystery called Another Thing to Fall. And back in 2008, so we're talking almost 20 years ago, she's in her 60s and I'm still in my 40s. And a reader wrote me and said, I think you're a little bit ageist because this character is so anti-tech, and isn't that a cliche? And at the time I thought and wrote back and said, this character is like kind of inspired by my mom, and my mom's a librarian, and she's very sophisticated. She just doesn't like tech. She doesn't like to be on the internet. But, that complaint kind of landed. And I will say to people, to readers, if a reader writes me just like a really angry, mean note, it's pretty easy to toss off. But if someone writes a thoughtful, reasoned one, I hear it and I pay attention, and it kind of sticks with me. And so all these years, I thought about, am I an ageist, or was the reader being overly sensitive? And as I get closer and closer to Muriel Blossom's age, I'm like, I don't think I gave her due. And I'm now almost as old as she is. And all of a sudden, go figure, I found the idea of writing about a woman in her 60s living a life that's a little bit different than she expected, which is my situation as well. I mean, I'm much more worldly than Mrs. Blossom, but I also found my life took a turn that I wasn't expecting. And I just wanted to explore what happens when you're in your 60s. You're clearly in the final third of your life. That's kind of just math. Even if you live to be 100, you're kind of heading toward the final third. But could that still be a life of opportunity and excitement and new things and new places? And that's what I wanted more than anything. I mean, obviously I want to write a fun mystery. I want to play fair. I want to have murder and secrets and people not being who they seem to be. But more than anything, I wanted to write a novel about a woman, a shy, not particularly confident woman, beginning to really come into her own in her 60s.
Well, I just want to say, as a woman, I'm 47. I'm turning 48 this summer, and I loved this book. I love Mrs. Blossom, and I think that Mrs. Blossom is a character who will resonate with all ages. And I'm so happy to see this this trend that I'm seeing lately of women of a certain age taking center stage on the page and in life. So, just in the past 2 years, I have interviewed Tess Gerritsen for her Spyco series, where retired spies in their 70s are kicking ass, literally and figuratively. Deanna Raybourn.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And it just, with her series about retired spies, and I'm just so happy to see women taking center stage and owning it. Oh, thank you. Sweet Eliz is saying, well said, Sarah. Thank you, Sweet Eliz. Sweet Eliz adds that I am in my early 60s and I'm loving books with older main characters. See, exactly. It's time that we had that. Why do we only see women who are, only of a certain age? Why are we seeing, I'm in a bridge group. My partner last week was 99 and a half and she kicked my ass. This woman is brilliant and not slow. She planted her garden, 12 tomatoes and 20 squash plants, and then came and played bridge and then cooked dinner for everyone on her hall of her retirement home. Like, this woman is not slowing down any time. So let's celebrate that.
If you go back and watch Murder, She Wrote, J.B. Fletcher is kick ass. J.B. Fletcher is traveling. She's incredibly accomplished at what she does. There are often men who are very enamored of her. She's not particularly interested, as far as I recall, but it's actually a pretty terrific role model. People love to joke about it, like, oh, the J.B. Fletcher thing, you'd never have her over because someone would die. But
I love her.
It's a good series and it's tightly written. And Angela Lansbury just created, an incredible character in J.B. Fletcher. And so, we have J.B. Fletcher, we have Miss Marple, we have all of these characters. And I mean, for me, it was very personal. I was on one level inspired by my mom. My mom, who died last year, was someone who remained incredibly active and energetic. And, my mom was basically in perfect health until about 3 weeks before she died at the age of 93. And she had moved to a continuing care place and she was on committees and she had new friends and she was going to Oriole games in the theater. And then there's also my sister, who it's a slightly different story. My sister, like Mrs. Blossom, is very shy, has not traveled very much. I don't think my sister's been on a plane for over 20 years. I'm pretty sure about that. But she, like Mrs. Blossom, had this really avant-garde taste in music.
Oh my God. The avant-garde taste in music and Mrs. Blossom dancing wildly in clubs to tech. I can't even picture. I was like, I was not expecting that, Laura.
That's just kind of math. Like my own life, I just finished writing a piece that I'm very excited about that'll go up live in July on a website called I've Got That on Vinyl. And I wrote this whole piece about my own relationship with music. And now I'm a 60-something person who gets Medicare. I was a punk. I was in these clubs in Chicago. And by the way, I would still probably start jumping up and down if the Ramones came on.
Let's crank the Ramones, someone.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We forget that old people weren't always old people. And
First of all, 60s is not old. 60s is vibrant and young. You're just hitting your stride. Also, dancing is wonderful and freeing. Margaret Pinard, welcome to the conversation, saying, having just come back from vacation, I'm dropping in. Crank the Ramones. Let's crank those Ramones. Josephine, welcome to the conversation. Facebook saying, I agree 200%. Also welcoming Edward, Mary Jane, Danita, Josephine, Linda, Carla, Sybil, Melanie, Susan, and Jane. Great to have everybody here. Yes, exactly. And I think there's something so fun. I just saw, we need to be free and dance and, go wild on the dance floor and don't be shy. I'm loving all of this. And, yes to all of this. I just want to remind everyone, the book is not even out yet. Laura's coming on tonight to give us the exclusive sneak peek the night before the book comes out. The book drops tomorrow, and you can pre-order it tonight from our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore. That is Murder by the Book, my partner in crime, pun intended. So here's the link. Whether you're watching with us on Facebook and YouTube, you can pre-order Murder Takes a Vacation and get your mitts on Mrs. Muriel Blossom, the punk rocker turned, I don't want to give too much away, but turned vacationer turned woman most murderous, last seen on a boat sailing up the coast of France. So here is that link. Laura, I want to talk about your creative process because this isn't your first book and you have earned such incredible praise. I'm thinking specifically of Tana French, the incredible Tana French, saying Murder Takes a Vacation has all of Laura Lippman's trademark razor sharp insight and effortlessly absorbing writing plus huge amounts of warmth and fun. Mrs. Blossom is a pure joy, and I'm already hoping for more. Mrs. Blossom is a pure joy. Are you joyful when you're writing her and that's what's coming through, or how do you convey that joy?
I mean, I do like writing. I know that there are some writers who like to kind of take on a tortured pose, and there's that old saying, writing's easy, you just open up a vein. I mean, I'm not saying that writing is easy. It can often be quite hard. I don't always know what I'm doing, but it's an enormous privilege to be a working novelist in our culture. And I've always been grateful for it. I've been able to do it for, I would say about 24 years now. I think I left my full-time job in 2001 to do nothing but this. So the fact that even if it's a bad day and I'm not getting anywhere, I don't know exactly what I'm doing, which is really more often than not, I'm still so happy to be writing. And with Mrs. Blossom, I think I really felt I was kind of on a mission of sorts. The first line of the book is Mrs. Blossom had never been upgraded in her life. And
yes.
Yeah.
And it just gives you all of that because who among us, I've never been upgraded. And you're like, yes. And you want her to be upgraded.
And we all should be upgraded. We all should have our upgrades. I've had a slightly more worldly life than Mrs. Blossom. I was married to a very successful man whose life meant that I got to see a lot of things and do a lot of things because of his success. So I've been upgraded a time or two, but I was very aware, again, thinking about my sister, who was such an inspiration for this character. When I traveled with my sister, and I already said she hasn't been on a plane in more than 20 years, my sister was a nervous wreck going through an airport because she didn't do it very often. And whereas I was traveling for work all the time, all of it was overwhelming to her. And I sort of saw that and understood it and empathized with it. So I just think Mrs. Blossom is terrific. I mean, I like her as much as I like Tess Monahan, which is saying a lot. And in creating Tess Monahan, I was kind of creating my perfect, imaginary friend. Aww. And now I've created a second imaginary friend in Mrs. Blossom. And I really could see myself like hanging out with her in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. Like, let's go to the Charles Theater together. Let's go to the Baltimore Museum of Art. Oh, come down to the American Visionary Art Museum, Mrs. Blossom, and I'll take you on a tour because I'm a docent there. Oh. Yeah, and we absolutely. There's a lot in this book about the artist Joan Mitchell, who is an incredible abstract expressionist.
Who I had never heard of, so I immediately Googled her.
I mean, I was so embarrassed because I had never heard of her, and I thought I was I thought I knew a lot about the female abstract expressionist, but she was absolutely new to me. When I saw her, it must have been in 2021 or 2022, and I was transfixed and transformed by seeing her canvases, which are large and beautiful. This is a novel. So Mrs. Blossom's a big person. Mrs. Blossom she knows she should describe herself as a fat person. That's a hard word for her, but her grandchildren are trying to convince her that it's just it's just a word. It's just a description, and it shouldn't come loaded with any pejoratives. This is a book that's very much about women learning to take up space figuratively and literally, like to like, I deserve as much space as I want. And Joan Mitchell's canvases kind of transmit that feeling of, oh, you can take up that much room. They're huge. They're beautiful. They're colorful. They're passionate. They're confident. I mean, when you walk into a Joan Mitchell exhibit for the first time, I think it's impossible not to be emotional about it. They're so beautiful. And Mrs. Blossom really does like art, but again, she's, shy and not confident and not sure that, she's entitled to know very much about art. But that was a big thing for me writing this book, to kind of share that experience with my main character of discovering an artist and of feeling that that artist has something to tell you about how to live life.
Well, Margaret is saying, yes, so many of us need help with that. It's so true. So many of us need help with that, with the confidence to take up space, with the confidence to speak up, with the confidence to be adventurous, with the confidence to get on an airplane. I just had to get on an airplane yesterday, and I am terrified of flying. I am petrified of flying, and it's really hard for me to get on an airplane. And so I appreciated, knowing that your sister, is like that too, and that she inspired this book. And yes, and someone was saying, what a great shout out to, I'm scrolling back, to the museum. And thank you. I'm just scrolling back to find it. Thank you for that. Yes. Yes to all of this. And Laura, the book is clearly resonating with, shout out, Sweet Alyssa is saying, shout out to the American Visionary Museum. What a wonderful experience.
Oh, it's a great museum. I've been a docent there now for almost 3 years. I was in the training class in the fall of 2022, and I began leading tours on my own by the spring of 2023. And it's such a big part of my life. That is the kind of, to me, that's a very Mrs. Blossom thing to do, is to become a docent. I mean, I've been joking for a while that I'm living my best old lady life. I know you said I'm not an old lady, but I'm in my 60s. I'm on Medicare. I kind of feel like, I don't know, why not? I mean, I feel like old is another word like fat. It's just a word. It doesn't, like, if we can see these words as sort of dry, objective words as opposed to subjective, judgmental words, they really change a lot. I mean, I'm 66 years old. I gave my age in I said recently in an interview, I'm 2 years younger than Mrs. Blossom. And the interviewer was like, be careful, people will know how old you are. I was like, oh, honey, everybody, I am the person, I am demanding the senior discount everywhere I go. Like, hey, do you have a senior discount? I'm 66. Can I have the senior discount, please? Like at the movie theaters, wherever it might be possible.
Hell yeah.
So, I really wanted to live. I tell people I'm living my best old lady life. I mean, I'm still working, I'm still writing, which I love, but I'm volunteering at a museum. I have this plan in place that when my daughter is launched, because I was a late in life mom, so I still have a teenage kid. She's launched. I'm moving to New York City because New York City is a great place to be an old lady. I've got it all planned out. I have a lot of friends up there. It's like you can walk everywhere. You can get everything delivered. I'm living my best old lady life right now.
Well, I am here for it. And I think it's so interesting. I mean, it's just so fabulous to see how the book is resonating. The Minneapolis Star Tribune saying, I adored the vintage vibe of this meticulously written mystery, says the Minneapolis Star Tribune. The book page awarded you a starred review. Congratulations on that. Raving, cleverly plotted, heartfelt, humorous. Fans of Carrie Greenwood, Richard Osman, Agatha Christie will relish in Lippman's top-notch first foray into the cozy space. Also got starred reviews from Publishers Weekly, raving Lippman triumphs with this charming mystery. And Library Journal also a starred review calling the book witty and propulsive. Jane Brannigan Kaufman, welcome to the conversation. Definitely plan to read this book. She says, Mrs. Blossom sounds fun. Mrs. Blossom is fun. In fact, Louise Penny agrees, saying whenever a new Laura Lippman comes out, there is a reason to celebrate. I couldn't agree more. And the book is out tomorrow, you guys. And Laura's giving this inside scoop to us tonight. And you can pre-order from our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore. And the good folks at Murder by the Book will ship the book out to you first thing tomorrow morning. Here is that link again, whether you're watching with us on Facebook and YouTube. And you don't have to take my word for it. Anne Cleves also raving, saying, I loved this book. I mean, it's just so incredible to see all of these incredible authors raving, as well as all of Stephen King saying the closest writer America has to Ruth Rendell. Congratulations on that. The King himself chiming in. It's just so great to see your work resonating, and from both the Wall Street. I was reading the Wall Street Journal, but both the media and other writers. I'm copying and pasting them all into the comments so everyone can read them at their leisure. Welcome to the conversation, Edward, Patricia, Mary Jane, Rob, Denise, Kevin, and Jean. Laura, tell us a little more about a day in your writing life. Do you write every day? Are you a plotter? Are you an exploratory writer? Give us the scoop.
I don't outline. I'm what they call a pantser, and I usually kind of know one big thing about the novel. Usually, I might be wrong about it. I might change my mind, but I go in thinking, okay, this is the big idea. And now how do I get there? And I try to write 1,000 words a day. It's very, like right now, for the next 2 weeks, my schedule will be so disrupted by promoting this book. But in my ideal, and I'm happy, I'm so grateful and happy, but my best life is the life in which I get up in the morning, I get my kid off to school, I come back and I write. And I write in the mornings. I'm very much a morning person. I try to write a minimum of 1,000 words a day. And I just consider that. And I never know what I'm doing, by the way. I reread an interview recently where I said, if I ever find myself thinking something is easy, that's when I know it's time to quit, because it's not easy and it shouldn't be easy. And it's funny because I have so many writer friends and we're in touch a lot. And it not only doesn't get easier, but maybe it gets harder. I don't know how to explain it. I guess maybe there's a way of doing it for other writers that it gets easier. I've never heard anyone say that though. But it's like a good fight. It's like, you show up, you're kind of at war with the page in a very good, positive way. And you're trying to figure out how am I going to tell the story? What kind of story is it? How do I keep people interested? What will draw people in? And I think even within genre fiction, whatever the genre, mine happens to be crime, I think the best stories have bigger fish to fry. They're about something else. They're not just about whodunit. In some ways, in some of the best crime novels, that's almost a secondary consideration. There's so many other things that are going on. And, I like to tackle pretty big themes. One of the things that I don't think it's as relevant in Murder Takes a Vacation, but one of the through lines in my work is that I personally am very skeptical of people whose identity is wrapped up in being a really good person. Not that they hope to be a good person, not that they're aspiring, but they actually believe themselves to be better than most people. I find that extremely dangerous, because once you decide you're better than most people and that you're good, you're inarguably
Mm,
good, all of a
mm,
sudden all your decisions they're good decisions because you've decided you're good. And
mm.
I think that's how people get into trouble and end up doing horrible things, is because they're convinced of their own goodness and their own rightness and sanctimony.
I think that is a very dangerous, very dangerous place to be indeed. What was, and I just want to say, both as a writer and as a reader, I'm most interested in books that tackle bigger themes. It's like, for me, I'm an Italian woman, so everything always comes back to food for me. But it's like, I love popcorn. Popcorn is one of my favorite food. I will eat a bowl of popcorn every night, and I'm like, yum, 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 this is delicious. But I don't feel fully fed afterward, right? Like, I need some protein, I need some vegetables, I need some real hearty fare. And so, do I love a thriller that's fun and breezy? Yes. And what I feel most nourished by as a reader and as a writer are the books that tackle bigger themes, deeper themes, some issue of women taking up space, or race, class, socioeconomic privilege. These are things I wanted to address in my book. It's like, I want to talk about those things. I want to write about those things. I want to read about those things. These are the conversations I'm interested in having.
Absolutely. I'm a huge, huge fan of Mick Herron's Slow Horses books.
Mm.
And one of the things, though, it had never occurred to me, and I saw him say this in an interview, is that he's really writing about failure. And I thought, oh my God, that's so brilliant. I mean, of course he is. You immediately see it. We're so used to these narratives about someone has failed, but they will persevere and rise back to the top. And in the Slow Horses books, it's understood that none of these spies who have been exiled to Slough House because they've screwed up, no one ever gets back to the park. That's sort of understood. That's not possible. And so you are kind of watching this, I don't know if Sisyphean is the best term, or it's more like Dante, but watching people struggle with failure,
Yeah.
what it means to be a failure.
Yeah.
I love those books so much. And I first found them through the television show on Apple Plus. But
Oh, so good. Oh my God.
so good. But then I couldn't wait anymore. I was like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, I can't wait for the TV show. I'm gonna have to go. I tore through all of the Mick Herron books in like 2 months.
Wow.
And that felt so marvelous, because that's the reason I am a mystery writer, from falling in love with series, from like falling in love with Sarah Paretsky and Sue Grafton.
Oh, I interviewed her last year.
Oh man.
And I remember falling in love with Sarah Paretsky and seeing V.R. Warshawski on the page when everyone else was men, written by men, about men, for men.
Yes.
And Sarah
It felt like
Paretsky was so incredible and so powerful and so life-changing.
It was such a revelation. And I mean, she wasn't the first by a long shot, but still it was like, oh, wait a minute. I mean, that was totally for me, like light bulb moment.
Light bulb
the
moment.
PI could be a woman.
Yes.
And that's, sort of what set me on my path. And I love PI fiction so much. It's such a great form.
Well, and Blossom is a very lovable PI and a very good PI, a very observant and smart PI. Susan, welcome to the conversation from YouTube, saying, hi, ladies. Laura, I'm a Baltimore girl, and I have been a huge fan of yours for years. You even used my school, the Friends School, in one of your books, and I loved it. I am old, too, a 61-year-old widow, but I left Baltimore years ago, and I am living my best life in South Georgia. I had the honor to meet you at Foxtail Books in Woodstock, Georgia, during your release of Sunburn. I love that book, too. I have a picture of it.
Oh, Susan, that's so sweet that you came out to Foxtail. I mean, I have real family roots in Georgia. That's where all my family was from. I'm actually a native of Atlanta. We came to Baltimore when I was a first grader. But yeah, no, I've got really profound Southern roots. And what's funny about it is that one of the things that happened in my life is that I ended up spending a lot of time in New Orleans, and I still go there a lot. And when I'm in New Orleans, all the Southernness just comes out. It's like something it's like encoded in my DNA, and I'm, like the cashier at the grocery store calls me sugar and wants to talk to me for 15 minutes, and I'm all in. Like I forget that I'm a Southerner, and then I go to the South and I'm like, oh no. I mean, the joke is I was like, yeah, you have two Uncle Bubbas. That's a Southerner. And yeah, I
And
love,
I had one Aunt Bubba.
interesting. An Aunt Bubba. I don't think I've ever heard of an Aunt Bubba.
Bubba.
Obviously, it wasn't for brother. That's usually what Bubba is for, but
Oh my goodness. Well, Laura, I could talk to you forever. You guys, the book is out tomorrow. Murder Takes a Vacation, with starred reviews from all the trades, rave reviews from the New York Times, and all of the other incredible media outlets that I put in the comments. Here again is the link to pre-order. Do yourselves a favor and immerse yourself in the charming, lovable, heart-filling book that is an experience that is Mrs. Muriel Blossom. So please pre-order, click and support our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore, and let me know what you think of Murder Takes a Vacation. Laura, it has been such a pleasure to host you again. Thank you so much for coming on. And everybody, thank you for joining me. And I will be with you next Mystery Monday. Take very good care until then. Laura, hold on for 1 second.